guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today's video is going to be all about skincare. I'm kidding. It's clearly going to be about my hair. I don't have my hair in these fun, funky colors like pink and purple on an everyday basis, in part because I just like to change it up with my hair. These colors tend to be a commitment, having to bleach and then color and then re-dye and keep up as the color fades and things like that. And so although I love the idea of having, I think they're called like fashion colors, whatever that is in your hair, I don't want to have to put up with the maintenance, and I have been looking for a temporary fix for a while. You might remember in a recent fails video I talked about a hairspray called Hush, and it's called like the Prism Airbrush Spray. I think it's 25 bucks at Sephora. I bought a can during one of the VIB sales, thinking that it would be a super fun way to get a temporary tint to my hair that would just wash out the next day. A couple things went wrong there. First of all, it was a super light tint. Even though the before and afters online showed both on blondes and brunettes that it was a pretty stark contrast in how much it could actually tint your hair, it was more like an iridescent tint, and I got like a bright, vibrant pinky purple, and it made my hair just look like it had an iridescent shift to it. Not bad, but not what I expected, and definitely not what they showed on the website. Then the other thing I ran into was the nozzle totally clogged up for me on the first can I got. Sephora sent me another can when I contacted customer service to see if there was anything I could do to fix the can. They just said, no, we'll send you a replacement. They did. I tried it some more, and I just found that it transferred, well, this is from today, but we'll get to that later. It transferred more on my hands and on other things than it did stay to my hair and show up on my hair. And for a $25 hairspray, yeah, that just was a total fail to me. So in the comment section of that video, a couple of you guys had recommended the L'Oreal Colorista spray, so I picked up 2 shades from the drugstore. By contrast, these are maybe 10 bucks, depending on coupons, offers that your local drugstore might have. You can probably get them for less. I threw away my receipt, so I forget what I paid for them, but certainly less than the Hush hairspray from Sephora. So this video is going to be talking to you all about my experience, my review, giving you a demo of how I applied it, and then my final thoughts. So if that wasn't the world's longest intro, I don't know what is. Let's just go ahead and dive in. So the premise behind these guys is that they are temporary hair color. You spray in your hair and they wash out after one shampoo. They do have a note here on the back though that says results vary by color and condition of hair, and that the color may last longer on blonde hair. I picked up 2 shades, Hot Pink 100, because I love hot pink, and I don't know why, but of all the colors that I put in my hair, hot pink is easily the first one I would try, so I clearly had to pick that one up. And then lavender, because I think they had an icy lavender option, but I knew that was pretty much not an option with my deeper hair, so I went for the next best thing, which was a slightly deeper lavender. But honestly guys, if I were willing to put in the time and effort, I would totally be the person to go icy lavender. It's one of my, I just think it's such a cool color in hair. But that's not what we're talking about today. These are the 2 colors I picked up, and when I first tried these out, I went to town with the pink spray. I decided rather than doing a full head and kind of seeing how far the can would get me, I would just start kind of mid-strand and go down, kind of like an ombre effect, you know what I'm saying? I also know that these, at least the Hush one anyway, and any kind of temporary hair color like this that I've tried in the past, tend to be kind of like tinted powders, right? You spray them on your hair, and basically a tinted powder clings to the strand of hair, attaches that pigment to it, but then will wash out the next. Kind of like hair chalking. That's how, but like with a spray nozzle, basically. But just like putting chalk in your hair, it really dries it out. It really texturizes it, kind of like a dry shampoo, but it feels like a larger particle than what they put in dry shampoos, so it also just makes it a little bit feel more straw-like, honestly, and dry your hair out a little bit. So I decided rather than doing my whole head, I would just stick with the lower portion of it. But what I totally forgot before I tried it was I recently got a new batch of hair extensions that are a combination of my hair color and a lighter blonde shade. So was going, spraying happily, super impressed with the results, especially from the pink, because I feel like it is much more vibrant than the purple, until I went to go wash it out, and I'm looking at my hair, and I see the blonde strands, and I also see that they are now tinted a rose gold, like after at least 5 shampoos. I was a little panicked because it was the first time I'd had these in, and I thought, well great, they are now forever tinted rose gold unless I get them dyed or rebleached or whatever it is that needs to be done to hair. So I'm looking at it panicked, wash my hair, live with it for a couple days, go and rewash it, and finally it did wash out and I got it back to a normal blonde shade, the blonde shade that it was when I initially had them put in. But just heed the warning on the back, guys. If you have lighter hair, if you have blonde hair, this might last longer than one shampoo. It might last longer than a few shampoos. So just be aware, if you think this is going to be a wash-in weekend kind of thing, maybe plan for some more time around that, or plan on spending a lot of time shampooing to try and get it all out, because I was a little panicked, but luckily it ultimately washed out. The purple I find is definitely more forgiving, but again, it also, I think, shows up a little bit less vibrantly on my brunette hair than the pink does. I still really like it. It still definitely makes a difference and is noticeable. It's just a little bit less vibrant, so something to consider as you're looking at the colors within this collection. In terms of the texture it gives your hair, like I said earlier, there's really just no getting around with this kind of format, or at least I have yet to meet a spray-in hair tint that doesn't give it that thick, kind of dry straw-like feel just because of the nature of the product. This is not as bad. I mean, you'll see as I'm running my fingers through it and when I'm showing you the application that it gets stuck. No matter how much I brush through my hair, you're not going to be able to like run your fingers through your hair. But on a scale of, you know, super free and easy movement to I'm wearing a helmet of hairspray on my head, I would say it's in the middle, and I would say it's probably the most mobile I've ever had my hair while wearing a hair tint like this than any other hair tint I've tried, from the Halloween hair tint sprays that are out there to the Hush Prism hairspray thing that I tried. This is definitely the most mobile my hair has been of all the hair tints that I've tried. You can also curl your hair when wearing it. They don't explicitly say you can use hot tools around your hair. They just say to avoid fire, flame, and heat during application and until hair is fully dry, which I took to mean they're never gonna say like, yeah, go to town with a hot tool, but if you are to use one, just wait for it to dry and you should be all set. So I did. I waited thoroughly for all of this to dry before I just gave the ends of my hair a light curl. I found that not only helps the hair, because I found that not only helps the hair blend a little bit better, but it also cleans up the ends, because when you have, you know, kind of dry textured hair, at least for me anyway, it really shows on the ends of your hair. So just a light curl kind of helps erase and soften the look of that a little bit, which I really like. My thumbs are so pink. The other thing I want to touch on in application is, I guess, even application. You know, the closer you get, the more pigmented it will be in one swipe, but then the more you have to spray across all your other strands. You can see in some instances, depending on how far away I apply or for how long I apply it, you're going to end up with some spots. Just in general, plan on going over your hair a couple of times to ensure that everything is at an even tint, that you don't have any patches or spottiness, unless that's what you're after, and then by all means. But if you're looking for like a very even spray, I would recommend planning on giving your hair a few good coats. I mean, you can still, even now, I really didn't do this thinking that I wanted a full even coat. It's really just to demonstrate for the purpose of the video. I would actually have done a little bit more, maybe a lot more spraying if I wanted a thoroughly even coat, because you can see there's like a patch here. Some of my ends aren't even fully colored. So even from the demo that you see where I go rigorously pretty back and forth between spraying and brushing, I could have done more to get a more even coverage. Speaking of the ends, what I recommend doing is taking a brush like you saw and then spraying directly against the brush, because they say to wear a towel around your shoulders to avoid transfer onto your clothing, you know, getting on any of that. So just to avoid that entirely, I would just take the brush and spray your brush all together, because after that's dry on the brush, I actually don't notice it transferring a lot on my regular hair when it's not dyed. So you might have a pink brush, but you don't have to worry about getting it on your hair when you don't want pink hair, if that makes sense. Alrighty, so the last thing I feel is very important to talk about is transfer. It is obviously not totally transfer proof. It washes off the hands pretty easily, not totally though. I mean, my hands were significantly more pigmented than this before I started filming, but specifically like in this area where I got most of the pigment, it didn't fully wash off. And then as you can see, as I've just been handling my hair right now and talking during this video, still more has transferred to my hands. So not totally transfer proof. There's a reason that I am wearing a black piece of clothing today, and it's so that you don't have to worry about where it transfers. Maybe don't wear white when you have if you have long hair. Yeah, if it's gonna like rest against it, avoid light colors is what I would say, but against black, really not bad. It also means you maybe should wrap your hair in something if you're planning on sleeping in this stuff, just so you avoid transfer on pillowcases. If you're wearing any sort of collared something or other and you're wearing your hair down, it's almost like makeup transfer, but obviously with your hair stuff. So just be aware it transfers, so just be sensitive to anything that it could transfer to make sure you don't have any staining in things that I wasn't really paying attention to what I was wearing to avoid staining, and so if anything did transfer, it's certainly washed out. I don't think anything is going to be terribly permanent here, but just in case, you know, just try and avoid anything you don't want maybe accidentally permanently stained a little bit. Alrighty, so my final thoughts on these. I actually really like them. Yes, there are some caveats, nothing's perfect about them, but it's also less permanent than going in and getting your hair bleached and dyed and then maintaining it. So for the convenience of how temporary they are and yet the vibrancy that you get from them and the price point, I really like them, especially compared to something like a Hush where you pay a lot more for a lot less impact. I just think this is going to be as effective a product you get that still washes out and you don't have to worry about like super long-term maintenance. So yeah, if you find yourself wanting to change it up here during the summer or whenever it is you happen to be watching this, I would recommend these. And I guess get them at drugstores. I got mine at a CVS, but I'm sure that it's at Ulta, Walgreens, yada yada, you can find them all there. So those are my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know, is this something like, would you guys do this? Is it just me that has a fascination with these fashion colors? Like, I love the idea of having a pop of something in my hair. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and let me know what color you would choose if you could. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.